Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is Daily Drop number 135. What's going on, everybody? So we're going to talk a little bit more about Victoria's Secret tonight and their impending sale to the Sycamore Partners and when that's expected to go through now. So last time we talked about this, there was a lot of discussion and a lot of back and forth between both sides trying to figure out what the parameters of the deal would be. One thing's for certain, though, and that is that Les Wexner cannot remain as the CEO once they sell it to the Sycamore Partners. From what I've heard and from the sources I've spoken with, the Sycamore Partners are pretty firm on that demand as well. So that's kind of been one of the snag points, one of the areas that they've had to work on, and why it's made it a little bit longer for them to piece this off. So we're hearing now that it's going to be early this week that the sale goes through. And of course, like I said earlier, with stuff like this, things can change, and things can change rapidly in a boardroom, and the temperature of the boardroom can change very quickly. So things might change, and if they do, obviously we'll keep you up to date on that, and we'll update the story as it happens. But before we jump into that article, I was doing some research for tonight's show, and I stumbled across this Newswire bulletin from a company called Wexner LLP. And they say that the headline is, L Brands Incorporated is the subject of a legal investigation. So we're going to read this real quick before we jump into the article. New York, February 6, 2020, PR Newswire. Wexner LLP, a national class action and shareholders' rights law firm with offices in New York, California, and Georgia, announces an investigation of L Brands Incorporated, NYSE LB, L Brands, or the company. If you own LB shares and wish to discuss this investigation or have any questions concerning this notice or your rights or interests, visit our website, www.wexnerllp.com /L Brands Incorporated. Or please contact Joshua Rubin Esquire, Wexner LLP, 1500 Broadway, 16th floor, New York, New York. So they have a press release with it as well, and this is the press release. The investigation focuses on possible breaches of fiduciary duty and violations of federal security laws by the L Brands Board of Directors for the alleged dissemination of materially false and misleading information in connection with the company's operations. Pretty damning. Specifically, L Brands has come under increased scrutiny due to recent New York Times articles which exposed a culture of misogyny and sexual misconduct at Victoria's Secret, one of the company's most prominent brands. According to the article, L Brands has failed to conduct investigations into complaints of sexual harassment and gender discrimination. The article also alleged that one complainant faced retaliation when, following her claims, her access to the building where the company's offices were located was terminated, effectively locking her out of the company's corporate offices. So now, when everything starts coming into focus, you see that there's this class action suit that's coming. You see that L Brands definitely wants to piece off Victoria's Secret to cut this off right at its legs. They don't want to deal with any more fallout from this Jeffrey Epstein situation if they can help it, especially considering they feel like they can make Bath and Body Works a profitable company still. But it's all contingent on Les Wexner not being a part of any of this, folks. Additionally, the financial entanglements between the company's founder and CEO, Leslie Wexner, and Jeffrey Epstein have also raised questions. Notably, ABC News has found that Epstein was the trustee of dozens of charitable trusts connected to Wexner, from which Epstein then liquidated large amounts of L Brands stock to purchase planes, mansions, and a private island. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice that Jeffrey Epstein was in control of Wexner's money, and he was able to liquidate large amounts of the L brand stock to purchase planes, mansions, his private island, all the politicians in the Virgin Islands to go with the island. It's like going to get a combo at one of the fast food restaurants. Wexner LLP has litigated hundreds of stockholder class and derivative actions for violations of corporate and fiduciary duties. We have recovered over $1 billion for defrauded clients and obtained important corporate governance relief in many of these cases. If you have information or would like legal advice concerning possible corporate wrongdoing, including insider trading, waste of corporate assets, accounting fraud, or materially misleading information, consumer fraud, including false advertising, defective products, or other deceptive business practices, or antitrust violations, please email us at stockinfo@wexnerllp.com. So that's pretty interesting, if you ask me, that they're fishing now here for this class action suit, and they're doing it because they smell blood in the water. They see that Wexner and L brands, they're very vulnerable to this sort of action right now, and it's going to get real funky for them, real funky, real fast if they can't get this Victoria's Secret sale hammered away and sent home quickly, because not only are you going to have this investigation, you're going to have other predators that are going to try and engage in a hostile takeover and push Wexner out eventually. His aura is only going to protect him for so long, and the shroud of the untouchable Les Wexner is only going to protect him for so long. If people keep losing money, well, we all know that money is the most important thing in the whole entire world to these people, that and power. And if you're taking away their money, well, there's going to be problems. All right, so on to our article. It's from CNBC. And the headline is, Talks to Sell Victoria's Secret to Sycamore Partners to Spill into Next Week. The article was written by Lauren Hirsch. Talks to sell L Brand's Victoria's Secret brand to private equity firm Sycamore Partners will spill into next week as the complex deal structures creates headaches for its advisors, people familiar with the situation said. I've heard the same thing from the people that I know on Wall Street. It's a very complex deal, a very, very touch and go type of situation. There's a lot of things and parameters that need to be met. But Sycamore definitely has the advantage here, and they're in the power position considering what's going on with L Brands. And now you take into account not only what's going on with the Epstein fallout and, their dirtiness and the disgustingness that was going on from the very top of the company that was revealed in the New York Times recently. And you see why Sycamore is in a position where they can pretty much dictate the terms at this point. L Brands had hoped to complete a deal by the end of this week, people familiar with the situation previously said. The company is now aiming to announce a deal as soon as Tuesday, people familiar with the matter said. They spoke on terms of anonymity because the deal talks are confidential. Yeah, there's a lot of smoke around this right now, though. The people that I know that I've been talking to about this say that it's almost signed, sealed, and delivered, and that Wexner is definitely out if and when it does go through. Sycamore is simultaneously exploring an acquisition of L Brand's Victoria's Secret brand and, separately, a private investment in public equity or PIPE into L Brands to address the parent company's debt load, the people familiar said. Again, this is huge, folks. So not only are they looking to swoop up Victoria's Secret, they're looking to pump cash into L Brands and become a big investor into L Brands, thus forcing Wexner out of L Brands as well. So it's a two-pronged assault, it seems like here. And don't for a minute think that this does not have to do with getting rid of Wexner, because that's what all of this is about. They know that this company will not be profitable with Wexner at the helm, and they understand with the money they're pumping into this company that they're going to need to turn a profit. So it's pretty interesting to watch all of this unfold basically in real time. The two are focused primarily on the sale of Victoria's Secret, which they hope to get done with or without a PIPE. The delay highlights the pressure L Brands is under as it grapples with a heavy debt load and the sluggish Victoria's Secret brand. Those business challenges have been exacerbated amid scrutiny of L Brands chairman and CEO Les Wexner and his ties to the late sex criminal Jeffrey Epstein. For sure. And it's down here in like the fourth paragraph, but this is the whole entire crux of the situation. This is the whole entire tipping point for them. If Wexner was never involved with Epstein, he would never even think about selling off Victoria's Secret. His pride would never allow it. He understands that he's exposed now, though, and he understands that he has to take a step back. His people are telling him, look, this is for the best. You have to take a step back. You can't be in a control position anymore. We got to make sure we mitigate the scrutiny around you. And Wexner, this must be a very hard pill for him to swallow. This must be a very, very hard pill to swallow. Wexner is in talks to step down as CEO as part of the deal, one of the people familiar with the situation said. And like I was saying earlier, I can confirm that through the sources that I have who are familiar with the goings-ons. And now, they're not people in the boardrooms, perhaps, of L Brands, but these are people that are definitely in the know on Wall Street and people that totally have their finger on the pulse. Wexner's dual role as chairman and CEO came under fire last year when activist firm Barrington Capital disclosed a stake in L Brands. Barrington Capital criticized the L Brands board for its close social ties and pushed the company to split its Victoria's Secret and the stronger performing Bath and Body Works businesses. L Brands and Barrington reached a truce last year that added the investment firm as a special advisor and 2 new directors to its board. The truce is set to expire this month. Do you think this is happening in a vacuum, folks? The truce expires this month. They're trying to piece off Victoria's Secret. It's basically a hostile takeover. It's basically a hostile takeover at this point, but nobody wants to come out and say it. L Brands had a total debt of roughly $9 billion as of October 2019, according to FactSet. It has a market capitalization of $6.7 billion. Sycamore has invested in public companies before. The investment firm in 2014 offered up a $150 million credit facility for the then publicly traded company Aeropostale. The investment later put the two at odds when Aeropostale accused Sycamore of helping to drive the company into bankruptcy. A bankruptcy judge ultimately took Sycamore's side in the dispute. And you see here, if you're not familiar with the going-ons on Wall Street, a company like Sycamore is very predatory. They'll come in when you're showing blood or when you're belly up, and they'll come in for the kill. They'll sink their teeth in, and then before you know it, they'll be controlling a big fat lump of the shares. And once they control a lump of the shares, well, that means board seats, and that means having a say in what goes on in the company, right? So Sycamore is definitely one of those very powerful, one of those very, 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 very powerful firms that can do that kind of thing, and they actually have done it in the past. So, I highly doubt that Sycamore is not going to walk away from here with Victoria's Secret, and maybe folks with a huge stake in L Brands as well. A deal price for Victoria's Secret cannot be immediately determined, but analysts at MKM Partners earlier this week estimated a sale of the lingerie retailer could fetch $2 billion to $3.4 billion. The company generates roughly $7 billion in sales, a little more than half of L Brands' business, according to FactSet. L Brands and Sycamore declined to comment. Yeah, they're not going to comment right now on all of this. They're waiting for this deal to get done. Nobody wants egg on their face. Nobody wants to look stupid. That's why you only have anonymous sources talking about this. But they're strategically leaking this information. This isn't just happening because somebody can't keep their mouth shut and they want to pipe off. No. This is very strategic. This is leaked, so it puts more pressure on L Brands and certainly puts more pressure on Wexner to get this deal done. Their shareholders are not going to tolerate losing money hand over fist anymore. That ship has sailed for these people. They have lost a lot of money on their investments in L Brand, and They need to have Victoria's Secret pieced off so that they can get on with the business of Bath and Body Works without Wexner and without the weight of Victoria's Secret dragging them down by hanging around their neck. It's one of those has to happen situations for L Brands at this point. There's no, well, we can wait out Sycamore. We have the the high ground. We're going to wait them out. It is not the case at this point. Sycamore is holding all the cards, and I would not be surprised to see them get Victoria's Secret for a bit of a cheap price. The number we just went through here was $2 billion to $3.4 billion. I'd say I would not be shocked to see them get Victoria's Secret for under the $3 billion mark. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and make a guess, and I'm gonna say if once the sale is final, I'm gonna say $2.8 billion is what they're gonna get it for, and especially if that means if they're getting an investment in L Brands as well as also, it could even be a little bit cheaper because you're getting the package deal then. So very interesting, folks. We're going to be following this story. This is very interesting to me because we all understand here that follow the money, right? And if Wexner is getting forced out and pushed out here, it's just another step forward and another day closer to these survivors getting the justice that they deserve. All right, everybody, if you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. And if you like the work we do here and you enjoy the content and you would like to help, you can click on the GoFundMe link inside of the description box. All right, everybody, I'll be back tomorrow morning with the morning update and, of course, the daily drop. I will talk to you all then, and I hope you all enjoyed your weekend.